How does international humanitarian law address non-state armed groups? In today's world, the question of how international humanitarian law addresses non-state armed groups is more relevant than ever. Just yesterday, reports emerged of escalating conflicts involving these groups, raising concerns about civilian safety and adherence to humanitarian standards. As people search for clarity on this pressing issue, let's break it down in simple terms. International Humanitarian Law, or IHL, is designed to limit the effects of armed conflict for humanitarian reasons. It includes the Geneva Conventions and the laws of armed conflict, which apply to all parties involved in a conflict, including non-state armed groups. The key principle here is that all combatants must respect certain fundamental rules, regardless of their status. The Geneva Conventions are the backbone of IHL. While they primarily focus on state actors, they also extend to non-state armed groups when they engage in armed conflicts. Common Article 3 of the Geneva Conventions is particularly important. It outlines minimum standards for treating individuals not taking part in hostilities, including those captured by non-state armed groups. This article prohibits acts of violence such as murder and cruel treatment, making it clear that these rules apply universally. The laws of armed conflict also play a crucial role. These laws, which encompass both treaty law and customary international law, requiring all parties to distinguish between military targets and civilians. Non-state armed groups are expected to follow these principles, even if they lack the same legal recognition as states. Protecting civilians is a primary goal of IHL. It aims to ensure that civilians are not targeted and have access to humanitarian assistance. Non-state armed groups, like state actors, must respect these obligations. However, the reality often shows that these groups may not always comply, creating significant humanitarian challenges. Implementing IHL for non-state armed groups presents several difficulties. Many of these groups lack a centralized command structure, complicating compliance with IHL. Additionally, some non-state armed groups may not recognize IHL principles, leading to violations. The growing number of these groups involved in conflicts further complicates the application of IHL, making it hard to determine which groups are bound by these laws. Despite these challenges, international humanitarian law remains essential for regulating conduct in armed conflicts. It aims to protect civilians and prevent unnecessary suffering, emphasizing that all parties, including non-state armed groups, must adhere to these vital rules. As conflicts continue to evolve, understanding the application of IHL to non-state armed groups is critical for ensuring humanitarian protections in war.